campaign, and I want it to be very clear, is not about a closure settlement. It's not about what we're going to do later. We want to fight back now. We want to stop this closure from happening. We want our members and our communities to rally behind us, to be supportive, and move to the forward in the direction we need to go. We want to save our jobs. We don't want severance. We want our jobs. And I think that's as clear as we can be, and hopefully our members and our communities will realize that and stand behind us in this fight. We have great support sitting at this table, and this is the way we have to go forward. So,
about a year and a half ago, Xstrata came to meet with the various caucuses at Queen's Park. They met with the Conservatives, the Democrats, and the Liberals. And what they came to tell us was the following: that if the province of Ontario didn't deal with some of the key issues that are affecting the competitiveness of this facility in Timmins, that the next time they hear from us, that we hear from them, they wouldn't be coming to talk to us about electricity prices, transportation prices, and other issues that are cost factors for them. They would announce the transfer of the processing from the city of Timmins into Rouen, Quebec. The provincial government has had a year and a half to respond to this. You know that Howard Hampton and your Democrats have been fighting this issue for how long around energy prices. We've argued long and hard that electricity prices are not sustainable at the industrial base, let alone the local base, when you see this type of thing happen and what it means to those particular employers. So
there's something happening here that is fundamentally different than the depletion of an ore body. We're talking about the deindustrialization of Northern Ontario. And we've seen this start with small sawmills that couldn't compete any longer and would be shipped across the border. We've seen this with paper machines across Northern Ontario that are being shut down because they can't compete with the hydro rates every time someone turns on an air conditioner in Mississauga. When we see a plant the size of Kid Creek being packed up and moved down the road because we're no longer a jurisdiction that is able to compete, this is bigger than Timmins, it's bigger than the workers at this table. This really is about where we're going to go as a region.
We've seen this happen, this show happen across the north over the last 5 or 6 years, and I think what is now happening is that people are understanding, as a result of the fight at Smooth Rock Falls, that is now going to happen in the city of Timmins. This is no longer just a local fight, this is a regional fight. This is about northeastern Ontario and the rest of the north saying, if we wait after a provincial or federal government to try to find a solution to our problems, we're going to be waiting an awful long time, because quite frankly, they're MIA, they're missing in action.
We simply, at this point in the life of Northern Ontario, cannot sit back and say, the shutdown of KID is like the shutdown of any other operation. This is fundamentally bigger, fundamentally different, and the ripple effect runs right across Northern Ontario.
What we're doing is this. It is all of us banding together, the city, the Economic Development Corporation, the unions, and everybody, to say we're not going to take this sitting down. We want this provincial government to do what Danny Williams did in Newfoundland. And that is, these are natural resources of the province of Ontario. They should process here in the province of Ontario. And we are going to be starting a fight back in order to basically draw the attention of the provincial government to this issue. We're going to be asking citizens of the city of Timmins, along with local members, to take part in an action that will be happening this Saturday that Ben will talk to a little bit later, and to say this is not just the fight of the workers at Kid Creek. This is, quite frankly, a fight for all of us, from Constance Lake down to the south of the Temiskaming, even up to the James Bay. This is everybody's fight, and we all have to be going the same way. And we've got to say to the provincial government, we need you to stand up for the North, because if not, there ain't going to be a lot left at the end of this fight.
Northern Ontario is an economic powerhouse, generating a great deal of wealth from its rich endowment of natural resources. In terms of economic output, the 2005 gross domestic profit, GDP of Northern Ontario, was roughly $24.2 billion, surpassing the GDPs of Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, Newfoundland, and Labrador. And when we went forward with this, really what we said to governments is, we are going to continue to be an economic powerhouse. We need to have more control over our natural resources. We need to be able to generate more power and use that as an economic development tool. We presented that to all three parties. Unfortunately, I believe many of the parties brought it forward, and I believe the government has taken some excerpts of this and tried to put them into legislation. But the one that continues to cripple us is having the opportunity to do what we believe is right with our natural resources, which would be to produce them here, to refine them here, to be able to do that at a competitive price, because we are no longer just competing against Canada or the U.S. There's a Northern Ontario growth plan one of the things that have been loud and clear in the Northern Ontario Growth Plan, and I've been at most of the sessions, is, again, we need the opportunity to define our future. We have an opportunity to be competitive and use the electrical prices as an economic development tool. We need to have a stake in our future. We need to have education. We need to have job opportunities. And unfortunately, it is not addressed in this document.
And a lot of the residents of Smooth Rock Falls who lost their jobs, of which we lost 230 jobs, found work here in Timmins and have been traveling to the Extrata mine site and also working with various other contractors that supply support to that industry. They have to go through another closure. And I could talk for hours as to how that has devastated the families in our community. The travel is hard. The stresses on the family are tough. And my heart goes out to the 670 plus people directly affected, let alone the other 13 or 1,400 people that will be affected.